Okay, phones away, hats off, all that good stuff. So, guys, so Ian, not only is one of the probably best, most professional, most passionate coaches that I know, he's actually a really good friend of mine. And I think it's because we have the same sort of philosophy, really interested in kind of developing players. As I mentioned the other day, a lot of people tend to get their players and they want to just keep them and smother them. You know, Ian was telling me about a couple of real good players that he's got, that he's kind of moved on to, you know, other clubs. So he kind of works with them and he's quite happy to kind of pass the kids on. So he's not very selfish. A lot of coaches out there are selfish, especially ones that have got their own business. They're in it for themselves. And I think Ian brings like a completely different perspective, you know, to the coaching scene. So I'm going to hand the class over to him. Obviously, you know, as we do with all the guest speakers, let's show him plenty of respect. And you know, he's driven down 6 hours from Canada to be here, so that's a long way.
I left snow, kids snow.
So yeah, Ian, the class is all yours.
Thanks, Greg. Thank you. Yes, thanks for having me today. Real pleasure. Campus is beautiful. I probably saw 10% of the last 2 hours walking around. It's very nice, and you guys will be very proud to be here. I've had a lot of help in my coaching career, a lot of people. So it's a pleasure to kind of pass things on to our coaches, aspiring coaches coming through. Okay. So what I'm trying to do today is kind of share with you my coaching journey, some things I've learned along the way, and I have some slides, but I'm quite happy to open up for interactive discussion. If you've got any questions, stick your hand up. I do have a funny accent with the cold today, so just bear with me, and I'll try to talk a little bit slower than I normally do. Okay. A little bit of background on myself, just a licensed coach. I founded my company, One Soccer, back in the year 2000. And I'm also doing work with Wolves in England as a scout and also a coach as well. I've been accepted into a master's program in Spain, which I'll start in October this year. And be a 6-month program in Spain, master's degree in talent identification, soccer development. Okay. I've worked with about 20 plus players who went on to play nationally for Canada last 10 years, both male and female side as well. And I'm also a former TFC Academy and Ontario Provincial staff coach as well. So a little bit of my background. I will say, actually, the girl who walked us over here asked me a question, did you study coaching at university? I said, no, economics. So I've got a little bit of a varied career. I did go through economics, business a whole bit, got a master's degree in business. I've ended up in the coaching profession, okay? And if you brought 100 coaches into a room and you asked them, did you want to be a coach when you started out? They probably said, no, I want to be a player, right? I was no different. I was growing up as a young boy in Belfast. I want to play for Arsenal. I still do, right? So I came up that way, and then I realized 27, 28, that probably wasn't going to happen, right? So I started getting involved in coaching around that time, taking my coaching badges and so forth, okay? I did the same with a lot of coaches, like top coach in EPL, like Brendan Rodgers from back home as well. He played professionally, 16 to 20, had some injuries, and decided at that point in time, I can't reach the highest level as a player, but I can as a coach. Okay, so a lot of coaches end up as frustrated players, right? So that's really who we are at the end of the day. Right? Just some milestones along my career as well. Like I mentioned, I started my coaching badges around 27, 28. The first time I actually was evaluated as a coach was an old C license in Canada. Okay, that was the first time I had people actually watch my session and evaluate me and give me critique, obviously. So I actually was very fortunate to pass that course and identified and actually brought me into the Ontario Provincial program. Okay, so that's my provincial program in terms of the best players in our province to play for all the Ontario province. Right, so that was a major step for my coaching career. At that point in time, I worked with the best players in the province. Also, in the year 2000, I formed my own academy. But what happened with that was I had 3 years working with provincial players, and I felt we're spending a lot of time on a small amount of players. Okay. Receiving quality coaching on a weekly basis, but there's so many players that are not getting that kind of coaching. Okay? At that time in Canada, there's a big difference between provincial program and a club program, right? So I kind of felt there's a gap there. So how do we get more players involved in terms of becoming better, right? So I started my own company. I probably had 6 players in the gym when I first started, and now we have 70 full-time players in our academy. Okay? It's been a long process to get there, but that's kind of how I first started. Okay? I did some work with Crew Alexander in England. It's a very small club, interesting club. That's a club that has thrived in developing players from day one. Okay, the club really should be a professional club. It's such a small little town, small little place. But the coach that went there, Dario Grady, he started an academy behind the main stand with 4 or 5 kids. he told his board, he's going to work these players 6 or 7 years of age and bring them through. And he actually developed one of the best academies in the UK. The reason he did that was because they started developing young players and selling them on. Because financially, getting 4,000 or 5,000 fans per game, nothing compared to your football team here, right? So they had to earn money. So he spent a lot of time with these young players. He's probably sold over 20 million pounds of talent for the last 10, 15 years, okay? So small little club, but developed one of the best academies. I was very fortunate to work with him and work with his staff for a couple of years, okay? One decision a day I didn't make was I went back home from Belfast. And discovered early on I felt like North American coaching courses were a little behind the times compared to Europe. So I actually pursued a pathway which is through UEFA, which is European licensing. So I went back to Scotland, got my B license, the same course Jose Mourinho took, the Chelsea coach now, and then from there I went into my A license in Belfast, and actually went back this year to get an upgrade in that as well. So I kind of felt European coaching methodology versus North America, okay? I have taken the US coaching badge, the B license. Actually, when I came to the US, I found your methodology in coaching is much better than Canada, okay? When I took my Canadian license, I walked through the door, and right away the coach is trying to peg you, right? I think the first coach I took the C license, I think 4 of us passed out of 26, right? So it's more about trying to fail you as opposed to pass you, okay? I took the US license, walked through the door, first day they said 2 things. Leave here a better coach and enjoy yourself, right? So for me, it was a breath of fresh air because everyone was so stressed in the C license I was taking. But I came to the US for a week and it's a pleasure. It's a real pleasure. See you in Europe, okay? And when I go back to Europe and work with the coaches there, it's very much about development, but very much about becoming better as a coach, okay? Because we learn every day, okay? I'm 50 years of age, I learn every day. Okay? Another thing, I'm getting a top job. I was offered a technical director role at the UYSC, which is I think the second largest club in North America, 7,000 players. And at the time, I was probably about 34, 35. It was myself and a national team coach up for the job. And this guy had been around many, many years, coached national level, been across the UK, coached professional academies. Fortunately, I got the job ahead of him, right? So for me, it gave me a lot of confidence as a coach. People consider I was too young for the job because it's a massive, massive club. But I went there, I was my eyes open and did the best I could. And the first time in my life I was actually working on a daily basis with players. That was the first time I was full-time in the coaching profession. Okay? I spent 2.5 years, every day I was there. I was on the field working with male players, female players, ages 4 to 18 plus. Okay? So really helped me to coach in terms of my coaching hours. I was learning as I went. Another thing I got involved in a few years after that was Brazilian soccer schools. A guy called Simon Clifford in the UK that went to Brazil and brought back their methodology, mostly around futsal coaching, back into the UK. And I ended up actually working with him for a couple of years, and that was the point in my career I kind of went in a different direction. Okay? I started becoming more of a skills coach versus a team coach. So when I coached the best players in Ontario, looking back now, it didn't seem at the time, but it was quite easy because the players were very skilled. So I was organize them properly, make sure they're fit. As a team, we had obviously what we want to play, go on the field and do it. So I said to one of those players, cross the ball and hit the back of the net, they can do it, right? So when I became a skills coach, it was getting right down to the basic level, okay? How's a player who hasn't played before, how you make them better? How you teach them, right? So I've enjoyed that work, actually, to be very honest, more, okay? I find it more rewarding. It's more difficult, but it's also more rewarding as well. And obviously, the last couple of years, we've been involved with rules a little bit well. So we have had 2 players the last 3 years go over to the UK and actually spend 3 weeks over there on trial. So they had 3 weeks at their academy and also playing 4 games for their academy as well. So for me, it's kind of showed that we have some players in Canada that can actually go on a plane, go across to England, a professional club, and do quite well. Okay, so there's a little bit of a feedback for us as coaches to know on the right path regarding developing our players. Okay. Any questions at all? Yes?
Is there any difference between the A, B, and C license, or is it just?
Yeah, it goes up. So you graduate from a C to a B to an A.
Okay.
Right? So in Canada, we've kind of got a different license system now. You kind of start with pre-B, provincial B, national B, and then A license in Canada. But just give you an example. In Canada right now, we're probably graduating 50 coaches a year, A and B license. Right now, I think Spain and Germany have like 10,000 licensed coaches, A and B. So we're trying to play catch up, obviously, right? So I think in the US it starts with a D license, D, and goes from there, right? Okay. Yeah, hey, today I really want to share experience with you. I read a book recently by Sir Kenneth Robinson. Have you heard of him at all? No? I would recommend the book, Finding Your Element. Okay? He talks a lot in that book about creativity. Okay? Regarding giving kids the opportunities to be creative. That can be dance, that can be music, that can be anything. Okay? He's arguing that in schools right now, we're not encouraging kids enough to find a true passion. What they enjoy doing. Okay? My element is coaching. I absolutely love my job. My step in the field, I absolutely love it. Okay? There are things around my job, like the business part of things I don't enjoy quite so much. Okay? But when I step in the field, whether it's a futsal court or step in the field, that's my office, right? And that's what I love what I do. Okay? This was some kind of outline for today. So in terms of North American soccer, in Canada's a little bit different. We actually qualified for the World Cup once ever, '86. Okay? And Mexico qualified and Canada qualified from CONCACAF. US didn't qualify. Okay? Since then, you guys have qualified at every World Cup, and we have not. Okay? So we were at one point ahead of you guys, not any longer. Okay? You guys done a very good job investing in coaching development and player development. Okay? Very good job. Okay? So our challenge in Canada is we haven't qualified. We're trying to develop enough players to qualify, obviously. Smaller nation, I understand that, but we have done a very good job moving forward with our programs. Okay? Some of the challenges in North America, obviously soccer is not the biggest sport in North America still. Okay? We've got our challenges regarding football, baseball, and so forth. Okay? So it's difficult. So the best athletic talent may go to our sports because it's a more defined pathway. Okay? The young player will know I can go work hard at baseball or football and make millions of dollars a year. Okay? And soccer is a little bit iffy regarding MLS still. Okay? More difficult. Okay? We have the same problem in Canada with hockey. Ice hockey is our major sport, so the young players today, choice between hockey and soccer, typically they may go towards hockey. Okay? That's probably our best athletes, so we're losing a big talent pool there. Okay? The other challenge you have is it's great to have your university college system. But the problem with North America is a lot of your players today playing for your university team may come out of here 2021 and graduate at that age group. But back in Europe, players are playing the first team professionally at 17, 18. Okay, so that's a 4 or 5 year difference there regarding giving them professional playing experience. That's a big gap to make up. Okay? Also, I mentioned lack of qualified coaches. So again, Germany's 34,000 UEFA coaches, A and B. If you're a young player growing in Germany, chances are you'll hit one of those coaches at some point in your career. Okay? Even in Spain, England's a little bit lower as well, you'll see. But that's the difference. Okay? You can play over in North America and not hit an A or B licensed coach. Okay? More difficult. Okay? You also have very short, condensed competitive seasons. We cram a lot of games into a short space of time. So what tends to happen is, in Europe you have a 3 to 4 training to game ratio, which is the optimal solution. Over here you may have the opposite. So when I first got involved coaching in Canada, I had players and teams who were actually playing 3 games a week and training once a week. It should be the other way around. Okay? Like I mentioned, and then there's also too much emphasis, I believe, on winning versus skill acquisition. Okay? So I find North America, especially where I'm from in Canada, we try to build teams as soon as possible. Right? The coaches are trying to build teams. Okay? And then we have players who can't pass the ball properly, or don't have the confidence with the ball to take somebody on. Okay? And that's a big limitation to developing some good players here. Okay? MLS academies in England, for example, you get 92 professional clubs. So a population in England of 60 million, you've got 92 professional clubs. Okay? In North America, you've got about 20 MLS teams for a population that's much more than ours. Okay? It's a little more difficult for young players to get opportunities at the professional level here. Okay? This is something that I just developed over the years with my own program. And if I'd shown this slide 10 years ago, I probably would have had the middle part. I would have said to you, core foot skills, ball mastery, all the technical elements of the game. But I'm finding more and more in my coaching that it's the other things around the outside that are more important. Okay? Have to have players who have desire to learn. Have to have kids who have a love of the game. Okay? Have to have deep learning practice. Okay? Have to be humble, committed to work hard every session. Okay? I come across a lot of players 7 years of age, and their parents thinks that right now they're next messy, right? And we actually get requests regarding, can you work more with my child? I said, how old's your child? 7, right? So I find that that's kind of holding us back a little bit. You've got to have players who want to work hard all the time, okay? And I have some examples later on. I'll kind of explain what I'm talking about with that, okay? This is kind of just stuff from our academy in terms of, I kind of sat down last year and go, what's our academy about? What are we trying to achieve, okay? We play an academy league, and we don't have the best teams. Our team's not the best in the league, okay? We have players who move on to MLS academies and higher level, like Worlds as well, okay? So we think our work is more about developing the players versus trying to put teams in the field that are going to win most of the games, okay? To us, it's not the major reason for doing it. Major reason for us, when we want, is trying to develop players to their maximum potential, okay? So you'll see here, even think the best young people, okay? That's important to me, okay? That's important to me to understand that I should help players along the way, okay? Are they good people, okay? When coaches come from Wolves, between our players, the first thing I recognize is that every player will walk up to them and shake their hands, okay? Maybe a small little thing, but it's about respect, okay? Teach that early on with kids, then they've got half a chance in life, okay? Best practice is obviously important, but you notice best young people is the far side. That's the most important thing for us. How are we developing good young people? Okay, this is our objectives from our academy point of view. So some academies will say, I want to win every game. No, we have certain criteria we're looking at, okay? We're trying to teach players a certain way, and we're trying to prepare them long term. Player development should be long term, okay? In North America, I think we always want the quick fix a little bit. So we find parents and kids moving from club to club quite frequently, trying to find the next best thing every year, okay? Whereas I think it's important to have long-term development, okay? And again, this is our scorecard we use in terms of measuring ourselves. Just to the right there, the far column, is just what we accomplished last year in terms of moving people, moving players along, Craig mentioned. Okay? Even things like the second one down, one former player is now pursuing sport. We've got a young player with us a few years. He's now traveling over to England to study, and he ended up working with Watford Academy as a coach. Okay, I'm very proud of that. Okay, that player never played professionally, but I'm very proud of the fact he's got involved in coaching. He got involved in coaching with us initially, and now he's over in England. I think he'll actually build upon that as a good career. So, very proud of that one for sure. Okay. Maybe because I was 50 last year, I sat down and actually started writing a book Craig mentioned. So, all I put together was kind of based upon the talent code by Daniel Coyle. Okay, and all it is 50 articles regarding things I've learned along the way. When I first started the book, my intention was I had the 10 topics. So I started writing the 10 topics. As I started writing the book over the course of the year, I'd have experiences that week in my academy, and I'd read those. Okay. Here's a problem, here's how we dealt with it, and then some obviously insight along that. I found as a coach, it was very good for me as a coach, just to take a step back and go, why am I doing certain things? Okay? Like anything in life, you go to your job every day, and you just do certain things automatically because it's always been done that way. Okay? I took a chance to take a step back and say, why am I doing certain things that way? Okay? So it was actually really insightful. And to your right, there's a thing I believe in. You've got to have, with coaching, you have to, the player is a central part of the development, but you have to have the parents and the coaches on the same page. And I have thousands of examples in my career where maybe one of those, the parent and coach wasn't on the same page, and that affects the player ultimately, okay? Because the parent's not backing up what you're saying to the player, no chance, okay? We have situations in this country and also in Canada where players in the field playing the game, and a coach is given certain instructions how they want to play, and the parents on the sideline and giving different instructions, okay? So what we have in our academy now, we have a situation in our academy where our coaching staff actually document after every game and send to the parents what our game plan was for the game. It wasn't necessarily trying to win every game. We have certain criteria we're trying to develop. Okay? Maybe that they were trying to work at play out the backbone more, okay, as an objective as a team. If parents don't know that, okay, they'll be screaming, get the ball to the field quickly. Well, no. The coach is trying to play at the back of the field, so we're communicating that to parents as well. Okay? It's very important everyone's on the same page. Okay? Any questions with that? No? Okay.